Well, you imagine if the government was to monetize that and then go to a bank, let's say the IMF, and take out an equity loan against that seagrass bed value, and you pay off all of your internal and external debt.
Yes.
And I said, we could now take a portion off of that money, and you could now implement that and award that, put it in a trust fund just for
Yes.
Junkanoo and culture,
Yes.
whereby now that money, once it's invested and it's invested globally, you can't just invest it internally because
We don't have what it takes.
we don't have the people to basically
The people
sustain
to
it.
do the sustain.
But if you do a global investment,
yes.
you invest in like Tesla, Apple, Google, Starlink, and stuff, companies like that, or trust companies that basically would give you returns, we can now pay and set up all Junkanoo groups, not
Yes.
only in New Providence, but Grand Bahama or other islands where they have Junkanoo going on.
Yes.
And I said we could now start looking at whereby the costumes and stuff, we could take them and place them like the best costume or the winning costume,
Yes.
put them in, build a proper museum, and we could rotate them around for 2025, which is the Boxing Day and the New Year. So you
Yes.
can rotate them around, and then other areas whereby that we can turn around and make this a job thing.
Yes.
And when I say this, I'm not talking about just the Saxon, but I'm talking about Junkanoos on the whole, because
On the whole.
Junkanoo on the whole has no political axe to grind with anybody.
Okay.
We come to Bay Street, we perform, and once the parade is over, we go home.
Okay.
And I was like, the people realize the time it takes to get all of this stuff together.
Yes.
And I said this to all Junkanoos, whether it's your Valley Boy, Saxon, One Family, Roots. You know, I said, let us now think of a way how we could become a united force to sit down and present an idea to the powers to be and say, listen, this is how we can help you.
Right.
You help us, we help you. And I started thinking what I said, imagine we got $9 to $10 billion that is invested into culture and youth. We as Junkanoos can help them play a role in development of our nation, especially with the young people.
Yes. Definitely.
Because if you notice that with Junkanoo, we attract more young people than any other entity government has,
Okay.
besides kids going to school. Because if you now notice, you even see them have junior Junkanoo. So that is a reflection of us trying to keep our culture alive and to keep it going.
Okay.
And so I said to a few friends of mine in the community that's today, and we were talking, I said, imagine now the parade would already set up as it is. The government could now do acts like local Bahamian bands, some people selling their native food
Yes.
and everything, doing those two into that same 1 week break.
Yes.
And they could charge $1 or $2 for people to come on board and to see that, even have the tourists, them if they want to participate, allow them to participate and
Of
give them
course.
an experience. This is something that it is different. They
Totally
don't have it there.
different.
And so you now can basically, for that 1 week in between Boxing Day and New Year's,
Yes.
you could have people come and sell their food wear, their clothing wear, whatever during that period.
Yes.
And the government monetize that, they make their money from you coming in through the gate.
That's right.
And you allow people to sell service and stuff. So if some of the Junkanoo groups want to have their little small stand to sell like their paraphernalia,
Yes.
so be it, but it'll basically be under control where now the government gets their cut from the gate.
Right.
And we other Junkanoos. And so when I look at it, I say, hold on, man, we could do this, I look at the cruise port and I was like, where is the Junkanoo Museum? But we used to have a huge
We used to have one day. Yeah.
and I was like, why
what has
can't we?
happened to
Yeah.
that?
And I
That's
said,
disappeared now.
we could now take these costumes, and most of our international airports where we do have Junkanoo in those islands, you could now take the lead costume from those groups, and you could have them stationed at the National Stadium. You could have it placed at these foreign investment hotels.
Yes.
You could have it on display in our own airport,
That's right.
and we've got many airports. And that's
right.
one of the things I said, we can now move it to our airports now, can now be upgraded to international. So we can have these stuff displays whereby that even if you want to, they can buy at a small fee, from these groups to have their stuff to showcase for
Of
the
course.
year. And so you're now looking at ways how to create employment. And one of the problems people always say that after Junkanoo is that many of the young men in the Junkanoo groups only come around this time of the year to sustain themselves.
That's correct.
And so when I look at it, I say, man, we can do more than just for a couple of days or months where these guys make money or these girls make money. Why not look at it avenue where that the culture itself, and it don't have to be, like I always tell people, it has nothing to do with the administration. Because if you take away the Junkanooers don't go to perform, it ain't the politicians you're gonna see performing. It ain't the people in the stands because they're like, wait, I ain't doing that. That's too strenuous and stuff. So
That is
we
correct.
take it upon ourselves. I've been around Junkanoo almost 40 plus years. I've had my leader, Mr. Poisey Francis, been around 60 years.
Okay.
The group has just celebrated this year
60 years.
60 years.
That's
And so
correct.
when you look around and you see all of the different ages and stuff involved in the parade, it tells you that we love this culture that we call Junkanoo.
Okay.
And the only reason we're doing it is to keep it. But at the same time, it takes a wear and tear on us too.
Of course it
And
does.
so, like I was telling people, I said, imagine now, with the 30,000 Junkanooers, with this money that if you was to monetize from the investment fund, even if you was to pay just the basic for the two parades of $300 per man, and you could go up with the prize money and for the best cost and other stuff. But just that alone, little stipend alone, is an encouragement.
Okay.
And you could now branch out where you could have the different groups according to the schools in their community to go in and teach this craft that we call Junkanoo. And we
Okay.
can basically, so now we now looking at ways where we can now start at the young level from primary school. So by the time as a young man reach high school level or junior high, he might be so good at it that he can now on the side, instead of becoming involved with a group, he could now basically do his own Junkanoo painting or
Yes, he
Junkanoo
can.
dolls or something pertaining to Junkanoo.
Yes.
And so this is where you have to now put aside your political preference. You got to look at this entity that we have as a whole,
Yes.
and we have to now come together and represent as a whole. We can no longer sit back and say, well, you know, I'm a Valley boy or I'm a Saxon. Well, I might be after them, I might be a COI or I might be a PLP or whatever. No, culture has this one thing I always tell people that I like with our constitution. It has no political aspiration.
Okay.
It's straightforward. It is way how you govern, and I think it's time now that governments, past and present and future, have to look at the ways how to create not only wealth for the nation, but where you have individuals in certain sectors.
Yes.
We cannot rely on just one sector to carry the load.
That's right.
We
That's
cannot
right.
rely on foreign entity to carry our economy.
Yes.
The economy of the Bahamas should be carried by the Bahamians. And one of the things I want to be sports, education, whatever, Junkanoo, all of these are different entities. If you fund it properly, without the interference of the politics, we can now turn over wealth amongst these people and everybody else in other sectors without that interference. Like I told someone this morning, we have some of the smartest people in this region.
Yes.
And it doesn't take us long to catch on. For instance, we looked at BPL, and we look at water and sewage, we look at telecommunications.
Right.
And I always said, you know, if we ever took that page that we did with the airport, we brought in a private international management firm, and they basically showed us and trained us how to manage the entities that we have. You can imagine right now, if we had Bahamians managing now our affairs, because this is us as Bahamians.
Yes.
I'm not saying that we don't need the foreign help, but if you come into the Bahamas and you assist us over 5 trainers 5 years, and then if you can't complete a week, say, okay, in year 10, we give you another 5. You should now put us in a position where now we can now say, thank you, we appreciate your service, but we got this from your training, we got this. And so we got to start looking at trying to create help jobs, and everything for ourselves now.
Exactly.
We cannot be looking for the world to save us. The world could assist us. But the movement and the direction where this country has to move forward to, we all have to play a part. And one of the things that I always told people that, for me, I always look at Junkanoo as another form of employment.
Yes, it is.
And I always said, if we could really ever take the politics out of it and say, listen, man, this is where we want to take this, And, I was laughing. I was telling someone earlier, I said, the Bahamian public might not understand me where I'm going with this, but the last three set of prime ministers, Mr. Davis, Mr. Christie, Ms. Dr. Minnis,
Yes,
they all I would say they all were elected by Bahini Junkanooers.
that's correct.
Mr. Christie be known as a well-known Junkanooer with one of the groups.
Yeah.
Dr. Minnis still active. And so when you look at it, and the prime minister now tells you in his most of his speeches where his Junkanoo legend lies through the neighborhood he grew up in. So when you look at all of these things, then if you care so much about this culture that we have, then invest in it
That's right.
and allow us to show you, hey, this is what we can do. And if they warn, but we could basically set it properly, a trust company, and guess what? Not only with Junkanoo, we could do this with all of the entities that in this country need funding. We could set up an entity for the hurricane relief, because we know we live in hurricane belt.
Yeah, hurricane
We
belt.
could set up for health care, which we know we need badly.
Right.
We could set it up for education, which we know needs an improvement. And so there's so many funds we could set up. And guess what? The government will always get a portion. Don't
Of
get
the
the
funds.
large.
Yes.
So it means that the government will now have surplus of money
So additional revenue, yes.
that they don't really have to go around with their hat in hand begging.
To borrow any money.
So you
Yes.
got the entities and everything right here
Right.
that we could use, monetize, and develop right here. There was a young lady, I knew her uncle and I knew her father. I went to school. Her father was my senior, Mr. Glenroy Bow.
Yes.
His father used to own the famous club in the Grove area called the Conch Shell,
The Conch Shell
Mr.
Club.
Forster.
Yes.
His granddaughter, Aisha Bow, used to work at NASA working with STEM boards.
Okay.
And I was like, why haven't we not reached out to people like her to help us develop a platform right here in the Bahamas?
Of course.
You have the former Minister of Health at one time, Dr. Matthew Rose.
Yes.
His son, Matthew Jr., has a client who deals with reconstruction. So like when you have disasters, his clients then come in and they help to rebuild. So that you got a Bahamian now with that kind of connections.
Okay.
We
That's
have
good.
all of these, like these people who build the cruise port. The people say, oh, they only build. I say, no. If you do your research on the people you have coming into your country to develop it, you will find that they do other entities and you can negotiate with them how to basically maximize what you have. So
Right.
imagine now, had we now had the same people who build this cruise port, and I give them credit, they finish on time, basically, and you get them to do another investments like a container port on one of those far-flung islands
Yes.
that caters with goods and services coming from Africa and Europe, and make us the hub to disperse it to the rest of the
The
region.
rest of the region, yes.
That's a form of making money.
Okay, that's correct.
We got to look at these things. We got to stop just the tourists. I don't want to be seeing young Bahamians continuously waking as a main making beds.
Right.
Now, if you want to do that, sure. But I want you to now make Bahamians now see themselves as business people,
Yes.
as an entrepreneurs. Branch out of this Serbian attitude. But you have to deal with this thing. And that's why I tell people that when you look at our constitution is the best constitution in the world.
Yes.
And people always, I'll tell you, what makes me smile? When I see other governments of around this region look at what we have and take it and say, you know what, we can use some of that in our
Exactly.
part, and they make it work for their people.
Mhm.
And we here, our people are suffering and stuff. Like I told a friend, Sunday, he said, well, I always hear you all talk about immigration. I said, yes. I say, I'm very emphatic about it because when you look at our constitution, everything in our constitution was written for the Bahamians.
Bahamians, yes.
And I said, those who want to be Bahamians, they have to meet a criteria.
Yes.
And many of them don't meet that
No,
criteria.
they don't.
And so when I see the administrations are trying to circumvent my constitution and stuff, I get upset and I will speak out.
Yes.
Now, to the caller was saying that was speaking to what I was saying with the KC and the QC.
Yes.
My thing is with the KC and the QC title is that from what I've seen with these people with these titles, a lot is basically out there for me to say, if that's what that title, this is what you're doing with this title, then I might as well be a KC myself.
Yes.
Because it don't seem that you're sharing this so-called great knowledge. And
it doesn't being shared.
Yeah.
Because, see, I don't know of the king. That's the king in England now.
Yes.
Our constitution says Her Majesty the Queen.
Yeah.
We don't have any more queen.
No.
We have a void in the constitution, and Bahamians need to recognize that. I don't know if the king appointing anybody as any KC. I see where some people traverse. They got a QC. Now they're calling themselves KC. What kind of crap is that?
That's why I said to people that when you listen to us here, it is non-political. We speak strictly to the Constitution.
That's why I am saying we have a void in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. You have any number of articles that speak to Her Majesty the Queen. It doesn't say anything about any king.
No.
We have to face the harsh reality as is. Now, in their country, they don't talk about no queen.
No.
In England,
No.
they have a king. They set the wheels in motion.
Yeah.
We haven't done that here in this country.
No, we haven't.
The Constitution is the supreme law of the land. And we have allowed the government of Bahamas for the last 51 years and 6 months, going up to January the 10th of this year, where we have allowed the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas to circumvent the Constitution of this country to the detriment of this country. We now have persons who are being added. Talk about naturalization. Naturalization stopped in July of 1974, and that was specifically for persons who were here who were citizens of who? The United Kingdom and colonies, who were working here.
Yes.
Not anybody else. So when they're going with this crap, you got a whole army of people talking about they want to be naturalized. There is nothing in the Constitution that allows the government of the Bahamas to naturalize anybody. It's unconstitutional. But yet you have hundreds, if not even thousands of people who are now applying to be naturalized, and the government has a fraudulent document called the Bahamas Nationality Act, which is not even an act, it's a bill, because it was never constitutionally sound in the beginning. And this goes all the way back to the time we became an independent nation, man. And Bahamians need to wake up and realize the very people we have to govern our affairs, the ones we trusted, are the very ones who put us in this mess. That's what has happened over 51 years and 6 months to January the 10th this month. And Bahamians, we gotta call it what it is. The Attorney General, hold on, Brother Cartwright. The Attorney General has given the government of Bahamas bad advice 51 years and 6 months. This Attorney General tell them they could circumvent the Constitution with ordinary legislation, because it's utter foolishness and nonsense. And the people who sit in that office, don't tell the man, call him aside and tell him, man, this is crap. This is nonsense. This is foolishness. They have never stood up and said it. And we know this particular personality had 2 citizenships, one Bahamian and one American. We don't know the circumstances of that particular personality. We just see this individual automatically service under the Davis administration. And we had problems with him before. We do not know whether he is Bahamian or whether he is American or both. There has been no openness with that. And so these are the kind of things, Bahamians, we got to check on. Listen to what they say, watch what they do, because he is the one that give this bad advice and tell the government we could circumvent the Constitution with ordinary legislation. That is not constitutionally sound. Go ahead, Cartwright.
You know, I totally agree with you because here's the thing that I heard the lady caller was saying that it's like apparently it appears to me that she don't want us to have this freedom of information out because if it is legislated for the public, I don't have to go to the Paul Mr. Farquharson building to get information. I can go and do my research on my own.
And then, yeah, I'm glad you said it because I got to speak about what's happening with that police headquarters as it relates to Fort Wayne Castle. Because something untoward is happening. But I'll let you continue. Go ahead.
And so I always tell people that if you have nothing to hide, like my father used to say, then don't hide it.
That's right.
But if you keep delaying, because we've been hearing about this freedom of information.
Yeah, for too long now.
For too long now.
Yes, that's correct.
Give it teeth, give it body, and let us, as the Bahamian people, if we find things are untoward us, then we will react.
If it is not constitutionally sound, it is rubbish.
Yes.
It is nonsense. Article 2 of your Constitution said it is null and void. It means nothing. It has no standing. It means nothing, Bahamians. We have to face that. It doesn't matter who the particular personalities are. The Constitution is supreme, not any government, not any particular minister, because a particular personality says something that makes it right. No, it doesn't. We line up every single thing. That's why a fellow like me, when I hear the Prime Minister speak, I say, is it constitutionally sound? Yes or no? That's all it could be. If he's wrong, we have to tell him he's wrong. If the Minister of Education is wrong, we have to say, Madam Minister, you're wrong. It is not constitutionally sound. And we go right there to the Constitution and point out to the minister. Because you see, we have people sitting in parliamentary seats who are supposed to be representatives, but they are party personalities not performing parliamentary functions. I don't see Article 52.1 being performed. It's not happening. I look at my own constituency. Where is the peace? Where is the order in that particular constituency and other constituencies throughout the country? Where is it? You see, all you see is the constituencies falling apart. The lives of the people, Bahamians, have not improved over 51 years and a half. That's where we are today. We have to face the harsh reality that the very people who we've been sending to do our national affairs have done us a terrible disservice. And we have hardcore evidence to prove it. That's why a group of citizens decided to take the government to court. And we have the judiciary. I don't know why they're stalling. But Bahamians, you've got to get behind your Constitution. That is your salvation document. You don't want it to be like Sudan. I heard a recent report just last night by the BBC, and they were reporting on Sudan, how terrible it is in there. They've gone from bad to worse. You cannot afford to let your country fall down the drain, so far down the drain, you will never be able to get out of it. So we have time now, and as you said, Brother Cartwright, the best constitution on the planet. And I agree with that 100%, because there are many things in it that we're not utilizing for the protection of the Bahamian people. You don't have to listen to any crap from anybody. The document is right there to give us the kind of protection that we need. We can stand on it. It's our salvation document, and you put the Holy Bible with it, it's even stronger. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. The lines are open. 326-0271, 326-0272, 813-0271. Famous, we got to wake up. This is 2025. We ain't taking no crap from nobody. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
The Perfume Bar has been sipping on designer fragrances, skincare, and cosmetics for over 40 years. We house a wide selection of designer brands such as Chanel, Dior, Gucci, Versace, and so much more. For your shopping convenience, visit any of our locations: Bay Street, Palmdale, Marathon Mall, and our newest location out west in the Old Fort Town Center. Come on in and spray a little happiness. Only at the Perfume
At
Bar.
Audio Plus, we carry a large selection of DJ and audio products like speakers, mixers, microphones, car audio players, and much more. You can also find a wide selection of musical instruments like marching drums, Junkanoo drums in a wide variety of colors, trumpets, clarinets, trombones, Yamaha keyboards, and Fender guitars at special low prices. Visit Audio Plus on Soldier Road, located in the Caries Plaza. Open 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday. Phone number 394-6668. Audio Plus, your #1 music store.
Wise Bohemian shoppers know when times are hard and things are tough, it's more sensible and convenient to shop at YK's Fashion Center. YK's has slash prices on brand name clothing and shoes by up to 50%, including academics, Clark, Polo, and hundreds of jeans and dicky pants, and as much as 70% on selected items. Choose from a large selection of beds, sheets, rugs, and towels, all at affordable prices. YK's has 3 locations to serve you: Bahama Avenue, Prince Charles, and East Street South near the Sir Charles Hotel. YK's, where you can afford to look good.
Limbo. Oh,
Man, what you doing way down there on the ground with that limbo stick?
I was in a competition with Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center. Their price is so low. I want to see if I could go even lower.
You should know better than that. Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center has general quality merchandise, furniture, homewares, and groceries, but their prices can't be beat. No one has better quality with lower prices. Come to think of it, I need to get there right now to catch those low prices. See ya.
Wait, you can't help me up? Oh boy. That's Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center on Market Street. Good buys at low prices.
Here we go. How low can we go? Come on. Here we go now. How low can we go?
Limbo. Oh,
Man, what you doing way down there on the ground with that limbo stick?
I was in a competition with Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center. Their price is so low. I want to see if I could go even lower.
You should know better than that. Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center has general quality merchandise, furniture, homewares, and groceries, but their prices can't be beat. No one has better quality with lower prices. Come to think of it, I need to get there right now to catch those low prices. See ya.
Wait, you can't help me up? Oh boy. That's Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center on Market Street. Good buys at low prices.
Here we go. How low can we go? Come on. Here we go now. How low can we go?
From Cable Beach to Montague, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Bahamians, this is a great day to be in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. I agree with Brother Cartwright. We have the best constitution on the planet, next to the Holy Bible. But let me speak about this issue that confronts Fort Fincastle. Every time they have an event on Bay Street, when the police decide to close the roads, the people of Fort Fincastle have difficulty getting to their homes because we're being harassed by the police. They close the road off on the southern side of East Street where Jail Alley is. Now, there are only 3 avenues you could get into Fort Fincastle. You have Prison Lane, you have Barracks Lane, and you have Sands Road. There's a road right there on the northern side coming into Fort Fincastle. You have Barracks Lane, you have Prison Lane. And we do not have any consideration from the hierarchy of the Royal Bahamas Police Force. The other day I went there, I couldn't get them on the line. I went there And one of those goon squads they have at the gate asked me if I have appointment to see the commissioner. Excuse me. I said, no, I don't. So he told me I told him I had two numbers I was trying to call in. So they eventually gave me another number. And then I went back home and I called that number. And the particular personality who answered the phone told me that's an easy fix. It is not an easy fix. It hasn't been solved yet. Because every time they close those roads and people coming home in the nighttime want to get to their house, and some people have had their vehicles parked down below Fort Castle and had the vehicles damaged. They had to walk up the steps because the police will not allow them to come to their homes. What kind of crap is that? Would you see them do that to the people in Lyford Key? Would they do that to the people in Old Fort Bay? Would they do that to the people in Albany? Would they do that to the people in Blair? We are being treated like we don't even exist. We are right under the nose of police headquarters. And just like we don't exist, they're able to find Lyford Key quicker than they could find Prison Lane. When they have events over there at police headquarters, they do not invite the people of Fort Castle. They have events for children over there. No invitation is ever given to the children of Fort Castle over there. The people of Fort Castle are not invited. They're having now something tomorrow. I just heard about it. I think it was yesterday. The particular personality is supposed to be a woman who is going to be sworn in as commissioner of police. I can deal with the constitutionality of that at a later show, because some things went down that are not constitutionally sound. That's why I keep saying to you people, you have to know your constitution. And also the situation with the personality who resigned. We don't know when the resignation occurred. And we understood what the commissioner himself was saying. And we heard from the Prime Minister, he told us some time ago, this particular person handed him a resignation letter. So how come he's still in the office of commissioner? There are just too many contradictory things. But let me get back to Fort Castle, because we are being harassed by the police every single time that they close the roads. You get off in the nighttime to get to your house, the man telling you can't get to your house, and you live in Fort Castle. They have never, ever given us any consideration whatsoever to the people of Fort Castle, just like we don't exist. This is from the police headquarters. We're right under their nose, but they know how to find Lyford Key quicker than they could find Prison Lane or Barracks Lane. And this has been so from day one, from the time they had police headquarters there. No commissioner has ever visited the people of Fort Castle, including this one we got now, or the one that is supposed to have resigned, but still in the office. Now we understand they're having a personality sworn in tomorrow. I don't know the particulars about this particular individual, but I know this. I heard that this individual was an assistant commissioner of police, or maybe still is assistant commissioner in Grand Bahama. Has been there about 1 year. Yet we're being told that this particular personality is qualified for the office of commissioner. I think, Bahamians, we have to look at these things very carefully. What are the qualifications for to be a commissioner of police? What are the qualifications to be deputy commissioner of police? The Constitution has a lot to say about this, you know. But here is a person who was, or is, because the person hasn't been sworn in yet, assistant commissioner of police for about a year or under a year. And that person has leapfrogged over everybody else and is now commissioner, or to be commissioner. Bahamians, when I see things like that and people are going to tell me the particular personality is qualified for the job, that's their point of view. I have to look at it from a constitutional point of view. Those young girls who live in Fort Finn Castle will not be there tomorrow to see this particular personality sworn in as Commissioner of Police. They said it's supposed to be the first woman. We have history being made right outside our gates. But you got people from all over the country who've been given invitation to come, even people outside the country, who will be jamming up there in Fort Finn Castle, parking their cars all over the place on people's private property. And then at police headquarters, they'll have all the cars lining up the streets and everything like that. And they'll have their big shindig tomorrow. But the people of Fort Finn Castle are being ignored, have been ignored for decades. This ain't just started yesterday. This is a long-standing problem. And the woman can tell me about an easy fix. She the heck don't know what she's talking about. I live there. I've had to go through this crap over and over and over and over again. And the police don't seem to understand that you have people that live there, they want to get to their homes after they get off from work, and we're being told we can't enter. Even a person who owned property right on East Street was being prevented by a police officer from parking on his own property. This is how crappy they operate. And another police officer had to tell that particular personality, listen, that's the man's property, that's his property. This is the way they have been behaving for decades. They wouldn't even have enough sense to say, let's find out how many people in Fort Finn Castle and give them a ticket. So when they have these parades and all the other things they may have where they got to block off the road, we can show the ticket to the man and say, I'm going home into Fort Finn Castle. But we're going to have people tell me on the gate. One of them particularly told me about Bahamians that tell lies. This is utter nonsense and foolishness. They believe we ain't see what's going on with them. But this is a mistake that the police has been making for decades. And it's sad. And against law-abiding citizens who pay their taxes. But we're not treated with respect. And we see where there's curry favoring by the police force, they treat some other people better than they treat other people. We are citizens. We pay our taxes. We don't ask them for nothing. And we don't fool around with them, hang around their gate, because we know we're not welcome there. Those goon squads they have right at the gate, they don't know how to speak to people. They have no respect for senior people in the community. None whatsoever. And I am tired of that crap. And I don't know what the new commissioner is going to do, but I'm going to have to try and speak to the new commissioner when that particular person is sworn in and see if that problem could be corrected. Because the woman told me it's an easy fix. It was never no easy fix. And up to the other night when the Jungle Parade, same foolishness happened. And other times they have when they close the roads. There's nothing wrong with them closing the road if they want to. But do not hinder us, because our constitutional rights are being violated by the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Right from the top to bottom. The Constitution says no man, woman, or child shall ever have their lives frustrated by deprivation. We're being deprived of getting to our homes. That is not constitutionally sound. But the police do it all the time. And no one has stood up to correct them and tell them, stop the foolishness, stop the crap, and allow these people to get to their homes so they could rest. Some may want to go to Junkanoo, they could go to Junkanoo. But we have other people coming in there, parking their vehicles, who don't even live there. And they go walking down Bay Street. But we who live there have all the difficulty under the sun to get to our homes when they decide they can shut the roads, they can close the roads. I don't want nobody messing with me. because I don't have nothing nice to say about that. Because you're violating my rights and the rights of other citizens in Fort Fincastle. And that's been going on for decades. And I don't like it. It has never been fixed. They have never, ever given consideration to the people of Fort Fincastle. People live here. This is their home. They want to get home when they get off from work. They got to keep working to try to make some money. And you can tell them they got to wait until after the parade or they can't drive through. What kind of nonsense is that? But that's the way they behave today. And tomorrow, of course, they'll have a whole army of vehicles in there. People parking on other people's property without permission. We had someone park in right under someone's bedroom for this past Junkanoo parade. And the one before that. Just come right into people's yard and park the vehicle going down Bay Street. This is the kind of crap we got to keep putting up with people who don't live there. Never ask permission, can I park there? But like they want to come and take over. Where is our protection to the police? We don't have any. And I'll say there's another thing about Central Police Station. They are no use to the people of Fort Fincastle. Weightless. Useless. They do not give any consideration when you call about any matter that happens in that area. Now they'll run after the tourists. When the tourists gone, they gone. So you call them in the night, something happens, you call for assistance, or even in the daytime. They don't show up. They never have anybody to send. They watching one prisoner or have to stay in the station. But they tell you, say, call the police. What do you do when they don't come? Huh? But this is the kind of nonsense we have had to burden ourselves with, and it is stressing out the people of Fort Fincastle. We got to stop this foolishness. Go ahead, Brother Cartwright.
Yes, Professor, I agree with you because I was laughing because you said that an officer tell you that the people does lie. So
yes,
I'm trying to
tell lies.
So it's like, then is he a Bahamian?
Maybe he's not a Bahamian.
Apparently he was telling you a lie right to your face.
Of course, yeah.
But I was wanted to speak to the gentleman who called from Grand Bahama.
Yes.
Was speaking about the drug act. Oh, and I
Yeah.
think the other gentleman also earlier for his call was talking about it. And I was trying to listen to it and I heard it and I was like, I don't think the government is trying to legalize marijuana to the point that for people to smoke.
Yes.
But
Brother Cartwright, I think we got a call.
I think so, yeah.
Line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Mr. Sidney Thompson. I only wanted to clarify something.
No, I'm not going to take any further call from you. Cut her, please. Okay, go ahead, Brother Cartwright.
Yes. He was saying with the legalization, I think the government and the previous administration was looking at medical,
yes,
not recreation. And if I heard correctly, I think even this prime minister said that he was not going to push for legalization in that manner. Now, he was supposed to be looking at for those who have, like the Rastafarian, which is part of their religious sacrament.
Yes.
He was looking to see how they could accommodate them. And he was.
Are they going to be accommodating them with this authority that they're supposed to be setting up?
I think that's something he was looking to see if they could put them, fit them into that realm, because he started to speak about with religious freedom. And I think they have basically proven to him that, listen, in our religious practice, not in our regular sitting on the wall, smoking, no. During our sacraments, we basically partake with the use of smoking, of marijuana in our religious practice. And I think they were looking at that. And so some people say, oh, well, if they do that, then I'm a big and I said, no, you're going to have to protest. Oh, but you violate my rights from. And I said, hold on, man. We're not going to make a mockery of religion because every man is entitled to his choice.
The Constitution speaks very strongly,
yes,
an entire article about freedom of conscience.
Yes.
We have to be very, very careful when it comes to that because the Constitution has a lot to say about it, right? The man could change his religion anytime he wants to change it. And see, this is what I keep saying about us as a people. We don't know our constitutional rights. Now, the Rastas may have a very strong point, and I'm not going to get much into that because that's their thing. But the point is the protection of the nation is of paramount importance. The protection of the community is of paramount importance. And while the Constitution allows a particular person to change his religion at any time, he could do it in concert with others. He can do it in private. He can do it in public. All of that is spelled out in detail. It's a detailed article. And one of these days I can go through that article because it says some very interesting things about freedom of conscience. And people need to understand all of this is constitutionally sound. Whether you like it or not, it's in the Constitution. So the Rastas may very well have a point. I said, notice what I said.
Yeah.
Very well, they may have a point, but I have to look at it a little bit more closely. Go ahead.
And so basically, people were saying, well, oh, this and the next thing. So I said, no. If you're caught, like the gentleman was saying, with drugs, and right now, it's on the books that if you're caught with illicit drugs or you cannot show where you get these proceeds from, you basically forfeit. And so I don't see where the government of the Bahamas is looking to change it now. They wanted to make some amendments to persons who were caught with small, minute forms of marijuana.
What is the interpretation of small and minute? Did they explain?
Yes, I can't remember the exact amount,
right,
but they did define the amount.
Okay, all right.
And I was like, okay, I could understand where you're going with this.
Okay.
Because like he said, you don't want to continually sending people to prison for what do you call it? Like I would call it a little finger.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, you're trying it. But I said also, what we should look at too is expand the First Offenders Act to whereby that is that you now look at offenders who coming out of prison.
Yes.
How you could basically expunge their record after they serve time for certain crimes.
Now, when they expunge the record, and I'm not saying you know the answer to it, but I'm just asking the question as you bring it up. Expunging of record means what, as you understand it?
Means that if you meet a criteria, means that they clean your record, means now you walk away with a clean slate. That was now, but the First Offenders Act was that if you only committed a crime one time in your life and you have shown over a period of years to not commit another crime, they were now going to expunge that crime off your record. So I was like, okay, that's okay.
Now, did they say what kind of type crime or any type crime?
I can't remember the specific crimes.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Fair enough.
I said I would extend that to also to other crimes such as now those who committed heinous crimes against children, whether boys or girls, or against elderly, whether it's female or male.
Yes.
Those kinds of crimes, I would not want to have those person record expunged.
Okay.
I want that to stick with them or whatever they penalty they face, to face that. But if a fellow said he did, yes, he committed an armed robbery and he's been out of prison 10, 15 years or whatever many years after he didn't serve his time, because once you serve your time, you already now paid your price to society.
So if a person commits a serious crime, they were sent to prison for that particular criminal act. So when the person has completed that sentence, is he now eligible, or she is eligible to have it expunged?
Well, that's why I said that for me, I would advise the government to look at certain crimes and say, listen, okay, there was no violence or committed, but let's say a fellow went to prison for pickpocketing or stealing, and he did his time, or some form of armed robbery. Well, I'd say robbery, because armed robbery is with a gun or weapon. And he said, okay, you now serve your 7 or 8, 10 years. But that would stay on your record. I said, okay, give him an opportunity to prove to you that he is a changed individual or she's a changed individual, put a probationary period onto it, like 5 years or so many years, that if you do not commit any more crimes in that time, we could now clean your record up and you could go to your nearest police station and they can give you a document showing now you have meet that criteria. And so you can now move on with your life where you can now do a bank account. You could go about your private life as for jobs and stuff, because anytime you go for any job,
They always ask for police record. Yeah, they do.
And so
Yeah, that's correct.
if you haven't committed, like, I've known some people who committed a crime when they were in their teens
Of course.
and have not done, but when they go to pick up their record, it
It's
is still there.
Still there.
And
Yeah.
so it's like you can now push your criminals once they've been released. Say, okay, this is a crime. This is what we have here for you. If you want this record clean, you have to meet these criteria. I think we have
Okay.
to start challenging, because when you talk about rehabilitation, one of the things that I notice with rehabilitation is that there are times even when you think that person is rehabilitated, but when they come back out to society, they still meet that challenge because people say, hey, man, I know him, man, he's a
Yeah, it's a
jailbird.
jailbird. Yeah.
And so that stigma.
The stigma. Yeah, that's
And
true.
and then like I say to people, why do people have to go to the headquarters to sit down with someone when you could basically, this is a digital age now, this technology.
Yes.
You could pull a fellow file up and say, okay, let's review so and so file and see if he's ever been back in front of the court.
Yes.
And once you say that, and you have a phone contact and said, okay, you meet the criteria, where do you live? Oh, you live in Carmichael. You can now go to Carmichael Police Station, give them your name, your information. They should now go on the computer, pulls a print, give you a printout,
Print out. Yeah.
and your record now. Whenever anyone asks you for your record, you can always come here and we can pull up. Oh yes, he met that criteria. He's got a clean record, and you have it. You can go about your life.
Okay.
I think we have to now, when it comes to our country and developing, we have to now look at a lot of things has to change in some ways.
Yes, that
Like
too.
for instance, like you mentioned, like with the communities.
Yes.
And I always say that, we heard people always talk about urban
Urban renewal. Yes.
and I said to me, I don't like the name urban because to me it's like another name for ghetto.
Okay.
And I always tell people that when you look at the Bahamas and you look at other countries, ghettos or slums, we have not reached that level as yet.
No, we
to that
haven't.
level. So I was like, community is better for me because the community means it's us as a collective.
Yes.
And so if you say the community center, then that means all of us in the community should have access to it. Even
Okay.
when it comes to development, like we got in most of our communities, we got schools. We should now have the Ministry of Works now sitting down, or the Minister of Works said now, say, you know what? I've got 4 public schools in Centerville.
Yes.
Instead of us having to send people out from Ministry of Works looking for something to do, let's look at the people in that surrounding community. And we can now, every semester, take a group of people out of that community who have the skill to maintain that school during that school year. And so you let them know, look here, you're not going to do this for full 5 years. We're going to allow you to come in and help maintain the school that your kids go to for a period of this semester.
Yes.
Then we will rotate you on to another government entity that is in your community that you can now find work for you to maintain. So it's a spin-off here.
I think that's an excellent idea.
Everybody in the community. So if you got 100 carpenters, you ain't need all of them in one place. So you can now
spread them out.
spread them out
Yes.
and allow them to basically show more of an interest in that community building.
But Cartwright, the biggest communities are right here in Fort Bend. I mean, in New Providence. I think Fort Bend Gas is a part of a constituency. Let me put it to you this way. The biggest communities are right here on the island of New Providence. Why is it so difficult? Even with the numbers that we have in those communities, why is it so difficult that the particular personalities who's supposed to be representing them in the House of Assembly, we don't seem to make the connection between the representative and the constituents in that community?
Well, Professor, you said it earlier. Many of those individuals align themselves and they carry it over as a
Yes.
party
Yes,
affiliate
definitely.
instead of being a parliamentarian.
And that's where the crux of the problem is. When I speak on this radio show and I talk about the government of the Bahamas, people equate that to mean you're talking about the PLP. I never said anything about no PLP. I don't have no time to mention no political party. I speak what the Constitution says. The people of the country is not the government. The people elect a government. They elect representatives. The representatives go into the House Assembly and they choose a particular personality who has the majority of the seats in that house or the majority of the members in that house at that particular time to be the prime minister. The prime minister, in turn, he recommends people to be in his cabinet. And the Constitution speaks about the cabinet having what? Overall direction, overall control of the government. I'm going to speak to that a little bit later in the show. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson. Lines are open 3260271, 3260272, 8130271. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
Whether you're shopping for Mother's Day, Father's Day, back to school, or any occasion for that matter, you are sure to find exactly what you're looking for at the Brass and Leather shops. Great products like handbags, wallets, backpacks, luggage, belts, shoes, and more are awaiting you. Brand names at the best quality and reasonable prices. Land, Rioni, Kipling, Guess, Travel Light, Herschel, and more. Shop any of our locations. Downtown Charlotte Street, Mall at Marathon, and also the luggage store at Palmdale. Be sure to shop Brass and Leather shops. You'll be glad you did. Bahamian feel-good food in the right atmosphere. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, whichever you choose. It's the Cricket Club Restaurant at Haynes Point, West Bay Street. The food is off the chain. Bahamian breakfast. We talking stew cow, stew fish, and sheep tongue sauce. And for lunch, crab soup, okra soup, and pea soup and dumpling. Man! And for dinner, they got mahi seafood platter or steak and shrimp. Only $28.95 per person. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner at the Cricket Club Restaurant. Call 326-4720 for reservations. Oh, and don't forget, there's a live band, The Magic Touch, every Friday night. Say, Shoe Depot has what you and your wallet need. They are stuffed with stylish and exciting footwear, handbags, wallets, and accessories for all occasions. Shoes for the professional, casual, cute and glitzy, skid resistant, and ultra comfortable for those long work days. Shoe Depot has got you. Oh, and be sure to join our Shoe Depot Rewards Club for extra savings and earn points for special benefits. Visit either of our two locations, Golden Gate Plaza or the Palmdale Plaza. At Shoe Depot, you'll find the best selection of the best styles and at the best prices.
Limbo. Oh,
Man, what you doing way down there on the ground with that limbo stick?
I was in a competition with Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center. Their price is so low. I wanted to see if I could go even lower.
You should know better than that. Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center has general quality merchandise, furniture, homewares, and groceries, but their prices can't be beat. No one has better quality with lower prices. Come to think of it, I need to get there right now to catch those low prices. See ya!
Wait, you can't help me up? Oh boy. That's Bahamas Liquidation and Auction Center on Marquis Street. Good buys at low prices.
Here we go. How low can we go? Come on. Here we go now. How low can we go?
From East Street to Blue Hill Road, it's your chance to join the discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and Global Radio 99.5FM.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. This is the last part of the show, and I'm excited to be here on the radio station to speak to the Bahamian people. And I was saying some things. I want to clarify it because, a lot of you still do not understand how the government of the Bahamas ought to be working. You don't seem to understand parliamentary representation. You're so attached to a political party, you're colorblind because of the colors of a particular political party. You've never heard me say anything about any one of these political parties. I'm not even interested in talking about them. I will only say that the Constitution allows political parties. We have quite a number of them in the country now. And the thing is, I'm not interested in getting into that aspect of it, although the Constitution allows for that. What I'm interested in talking about, the purpose of the government of the Bahamas, that's one. The purpose of the particular personality who sits in that parliamentary seat, and whether that particular personality is really carrying out the functions as a representative ought to. The Constitution is very clear on these things, Bahamians. So I can be digging it up very deep and explaining it in simple, basic, fundamental language, letting you know what article it is, because there's a lot in these articles that have to be explained to Bahamian people. You try to pick up the Constitution and try to read it now, some of you won't be able to understand it. And you go to some other fellas, they want to charge you a fee all the time for you to have what they call consultation. That's another problem you got to deal with, of course. But generally speaking, Bahamian people are good-natured people. I love the Bahamian people. And I am delighted to see that a lot of you are beginning to ask, is it constitutionally sound? Anytime when you hear them fellas open their mouth to say something to you, you hit them with that question, is it constitutionally sound? And hit them with the question about your particular constituency. What major constituency problems have been solved by the representative over the last 51 years and a half? January 10th would make 51 years and 6 months. And these are the clear-cut benefits that come to the constituents in that particular constituency. Not a living soul has been able to say what happened. You've been there all these years, Bahamians. You've been born there, you live there, and you don't know. And the constituencies are burdened with all kinds of problems, all kinds of issues that affect them. And yet, you are supposed to have a particular personality who represents you in the House of Assembly. What is happening, Bahamians? Then the next question about the government of the Bahamas. The government has, the cabinet has what? Overall direction, overall control of what? The government. The cabinet has the control of the government, not the average Bahamian. Let's get it right, Bahamians. We got to stop talking foolishness and nonsense that you've been hearing all along. Let's deal with the Constitution. Lock, stock, and barrel. I said rock. Lock, stock, and barrel. The point is, Bahamians, that's why I'm here, to help you to understand. And I stick rigidly with the Constitution. That's your salvation document. And the Constitution tells you plainly, the leader of the party, there are two options for prime minister. You don't vote for prime minister when you go in the box to vote in your particular constituency. You vote for a parliamentary representative. But are you getting parliamentary representation? That's a different matter altogether, whether you're getting it or not. Because we had 51 years and a half up to January the 10th, this month, where people have had the opportunity to run this place at the national level and the constituency level. What has been the result? Even they say they got local government in the Family Islands, so they got three. They got the representative, they got local government, they got the national government. And I think in 4, they got another group of people say they want to run things. And they got more confusion in the Family Islands you could shake a stick at. And then on the island of the province, all kinds of boards, all kinds of committees, all kinds of authorities. It seems like it gets endless. But this is the power wielded by the Prime Minister. See, in our Constitution, the office of Prime Minister is like a gigantic octopus that spreads its tentacles into every single facet of your life, right into your bedroom. And someone got upset when I said that the other day. He jumped up and called the show. The point is, Bahamians, we need to put some controls in the office of Prime Minister. You know who's supposed to be controlling the office of Prime Minister? Them same fellows who sitting in the House. But that's not happening. But the person to be elected or considered or recommended to be Prime Minister, the leader of the party that commands the majority of the members of that House. That's one. If that is not available, then there's one other option, and only one. There are just two options. The personality in that House, the elected personality in that House, that commands the majority of the members of that House. You don't have to be no leader, no party. But you could be a leader of the party. In our case, we have had the leader of the party having the majority of the seats. Now, see how lopsided we have been sending people to the House? The Bahamian people have been giving a particular political party a vast number of seats. So ain't no such thing as they had the numbers to change things for the betterment of the people. From the very beginning, July the 10th, 1973, right on up to now. The particular party which has the majority of the seats in the House even today doesn't have any blockage whatsoever to fulfill Article 50(1). The Parliament passed laws for what? The peace, order, and good government of the Bahamas. See, none of them can say they had it. They had it 51 years and a half. And when you look at these constituencies, see how run down they are? You see how beat up the people look who live in these constituencies? These are broken people, Bahamians, who are struggling for a plate of food and got to walk all over the place to get from point A to point B. But yet they have a representative. And they got some serious, serious constituency problems that have never been solved in 51 and a half years. And all they got is all kinds of problems being piled upon them. You think it's bad in your province, go to the Family Islands then. It's even worse. People in the Family Islands tell you what's happening there. And they're supposed to have what you call local government. And so we don't have local government. Call us, stay right there. Don't go nowhere. I'll come to you. We don't have no local government in the province. But you got all kind of boards, all kind of committees, all kind of authorities. My God, I keep saying to myself, what we need all this for? For what? Everybody just getting and knocking down, getting in one another's way. I's chairman of this. I's vice chairman of that. I'm director of this. I'm director of that. Call you live on here. Go ahead, please.
Good afternoon. How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well.
Go ahead, Governor.
Good. So, I called because I heard you was mentioning about Fortin Castle.
Yes, I did.
And the issue that you're having with the entrance to your community.
The issue that I am having is with the Royal Bahamas Police Force.
So my question is, as you continue to encourage us to do something that is when the Constitution is in breach or whatever the case may be.
The police have been violating. Hold on, caller.
Huh?
Hold on. The police have been violating the constitutional rights of the people of Fort Castle for decades.
So my question is, so what is Fort Castle people doing about it?
What do you mean what Fort Castle people doing about it?
Yes, sir. Because you always encouraging us to do things.
Yes.
When we see things is being violated. Our Constitution is being violated.
Yes. I agree. I agree with that.
So I'm asking the question, what are y'all doing about it?
I know what I'm doing about it.
What is that?
I am advising the people of their constitutional rights, freedoms, and privileges, because this is not an issue for one particular person. The police ought to know better. They know when they close these roads down, and they have never given the people of Fort Castle any kind of consideration whatsoever. They've been doing it for decades.
them, is that helping the matter?
What do you mean if it's helping the matter?
I mean,
They
you advise
need to
person,
repent.
the problem being solved?
No, it hasn't been solved. Because the woman told me it's an easy fix. It's no such thing as no easy fix because the police do not consider the people of Fort Castle. Even the police station we have right in our area doesn't even consider coming out to help the people when you call that station. I know I've called that on several times. There's no cooperation from them.
Huh?
What are you saying?
What measure can the people take to solve that problem?
You have to use your constitutional rights, freedoms, and privileges. My duty on this show is to make people aware of it, right? The police ought to know better. The police are not doing any better. They're making life difficult for people. When we come there, they don't even consider to say, well, let's find out how many people in Fort Castle and give them a ticket. So we don't have to be harassed by the police.
Family member who lives there.
Pardon?
And I want to advise them as to what it is that they can help to do to solve that problem. So that's why I'm asking.
No, it's a police problem. We don't have the problem. Police got the problem. They're the ones that close the roads, man. We don't have any authority over that. So what the heck are you talking about?
Hey, caller.
So that's not, so again, back to what I'm saying is, so you advising us when we see the Constitution in breach.
The Constitution has been violated.
To do that.
Yeah.
But you're saying we don't have no control, even though you're saying we have the
I
right.
said we don't have any controls over the closure of the roads.
So
That's what I said.
What should we do as a citizen? What should we do?
Okay, caller. Let me just make a suggestion what you all can do.
Uh-huh.
The community has a parliamentary MP, right? You hear me?
Hello? Yeah, I hear you better now.
Okay. Here's what the community needs to do, because Fort Castle makes up a constituency. It's a part of a constituency.
Uh-huh.
And I think what they need to do now is to have somebody needs to reach out to the MP for that area and say, listen, man, this problem has been going on and you can't for decades. And see, here's the thing. You cannot, it isn't a political matter. It is a serious matter because we've been having Junkanoo for years.
For decades.
And so if you stopping people from trying to access their home, then that is basically a violation. And so if he can sit down and along with, even speak with the Minister of National Security, who the police force comes under.
But I know it's persons who did that already and still no resolution.
Well, remember now, if they spoke with these ministers and they get no resolution, then you know each one of them has a boss. And sometimes you have to basically push the matter to the boss.
The government.
The prime minister is the man in charge of the parliament, of the administration, of the cabinet.
They just spoke to all these individuals.
Man, you serious?
Yeah.
Well, you know me, I like that kind of challenge because I will take that up and I see in the parliamentary convenes and push that out to the PM.
See, this is why
and that's sad.
saying, this is why
that's sad.
If we're hearing what the caller is saying.
Yes, that's very sad.
I'm saying to you, you have to understand the quality of the people you have sending to that house to represent you. This is where the electorate comes in.
Yeah, that's
we
job.
see the crap that has been going on for decades by the particular personalities who had the opportunity to do good for the people, and they failed to do it. This is a simple, basic, fundamental issue. And they can't solve that? Give me a break, man.
In my talking with a person who lived there,
uh-huh.
The police saying they're not going to do anything about it because as far as they're concerned, the police presence and the work that the police have to do is more important.
Stop talking foolishness. Cut him off. You're talking crap.
No, he's saying this, what I heard him say.
No, but what he is saying is the police work is more important.
No.
Than stopping the people from getting to their homes?
No, Professor. What he said is that the police are saying that their job is more important than the citizens in the community.
But that's anyhow.
That's so he's saying.
No, he's talking crap.
No, he isn't saying him. He's saying that's what the person he spoke with, his relatives said. The police tell them.
Yeah, but that's foolishness.
And that's where
this is utter rubbish and foolishness.
So it goes back to the police not knowing their job. You cannot prevent someone from going home.
It's a violation of your constitutional rights, freedoms, and privileges, and they've been doing that for decades.
And so we have
Talking crap.
So we now have a couple problems with this situation with Fort Castle. You have the police, which is part of your national security. You have your national security minister not coming and trying to explain them.
Tell them, do that to the people in Lightfoot Key. Do that to the people at Old. Hold on, Brother Cartwright. Because see, they handle them differently. Tell them to do that to people in Old Fort Bay. Tell them to do that to people in Blair. Because they handle them differently from the way they handle people in Fort Castle. Tell them stop talking foolishness and nonsense and get serious about the welfare of the people who right outside the gate, man, and can't get to their homes. What kind of nonsense is that? Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hello. Good evening, Professor Thompson.
Yes.
This is Kevin Oliver Freeboard. What's your guest name again?
Cartwright.
Mr. Cartwright.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon to you.
Same happy New
This
Year.
is no disrespect. You see why we lose our confidence in President Thompson? He just cut that man off.
Yes, I had cut him off.
Man was saying something. You just didn't want to hear that.
No.
It's sad.
Hold on, caller. Listen
Just
now.
hold
on. Just hold on. Cut him, please. Cut him. See, this is what the man wants control the show that I am running. I cut him off because what he was talking was utter foolishness and nonsense. And I have a right as the show host to do that. But their work is more important than the people who live in that constituency. You're violating their constitutional rights by saying you're doing your work. You got to be insane.
I think what the gentleman previously was saying is that he has a relative who lives in Fort Castle. And what you were saying to him, what you was talking about is that his relatives are experiencing the same thing. And he said,
well, of course, all of them in there experiencing the same
he said
thing.
that his relative told him that the police tell his relative that their job is more important than the people.
You see why we got problems in this country?
And so that's why he was upset also. So basically, I'm listening to all of you guys. All of you all are on the same accord. It's just that the people who is creating the problem, which is the police.
The police create the problem.
Then you have an MP who doesn't look like he wants to take up the issue.
But it doesn't seem like anything.
Then you got the Minister of National Security who hasn't spoken.
Yeah, but why we have to go through all this crap to deal with a simple issue? Why do we have to go through all this crap to deal with a simple issue? Huh? Can anyone explain that to me?
It tells me that basically what we have here is a lack of communication.
No, we have persons in authority in this country who take up for certain people.
Yes.
They're respective persons. The law is supposed to be across the board for everybody.
Equally.
They won't be telling the people in Lightfoot Key they can close the road, they can't get to their homes. They're not going to tell the people in Albany the same thing they tell us in Fort Castle. That is utter nonsense and foolishness. So tell them in Lightfoot Key, we can close the road so you can't get to your house.
No, that's a violation of the Constitution.
Well, of course it's a violation. And that's what I am saying on air today. That's my job as a host of the show, to bring that to the public so they could be aware of it. And there may be some other areas that have similar problems. But every time they shut those roads down, we have the same problem. Over and over and over and over again. But yet we got people parking their vehicles as they'll do tomorrow, parking all up in Fort Castle all over the place on people's private property, looking for a spot to park, to go in police headquarters. And the people of Fort Castle have never been invited to anything over there at police headquarters. Never. And we've had upstanding, law-abiding citizens. And this would have been a good time for those to go over there and be able to see the face woman as they advertising, to give them some encouragement. But they don't even do that. As simple as giving people tickets. The Fort Castle community is not that big. They got thousands and thousands of people in there. They got a couple hundreds. But the point is, they don't consider us as being important. They show that by their behavior. And they've been doing it for decades. It's a police problem, not the citizens of Fort Castle. We didn't create it.
Yeah.
They did.
You know, this now with the new incoming commissioner, this is whereby I think the people of Fort Fincastle needs to send her an invite. So they
I'm
can,
going to make sure I get to the new commissioner of police.
because
I
apparently,
will personally do that for the people of
yeah,
Fort
because
Fincastle.
apparently the previous commissioners them
Every
didn't-
last one of them,
did
from the
not
first
see-
one
yeah.
right on now.
didn't see that need, and which is a sad thing.
This is the problem with them. They're
Yeah.
so high up in the sky, they can't put the foot on the ground, man.
Yeah.
That's the problem with them.
And that area there, if there aren't that many entrants to get in.
No, all of them are blocked off.
Yes. You know.
And people have had their vehicles damaged when they park it below the hill and then have to walk up the steps. Can't bring their own vehicles in their own yard.
And
What kind of nonsense is that?
those steps are access, but you have to be in shape.
You have to.
But you know,
And then the step, well, that's another problem
Yeah.
again, because they don't have any railings for the elderly,
no.
no proper lighting for the elderly. Come on, man. But it's supposed to be representation. Go ahead, Brother Carter, because I hear
Yes,
you.
I hear the music, but I would say this, Professor, in
Yes.
closing. I would love to see before the next general election that we as Junkanoo come together and put together a platform and make presentation to the parliament, not just a party, but to
Well,
the parliament.
Yeah, to the parliament. The parliament
Yes.
is different from the
Yeah.
party.
Because
Yes.
with the parliament, they work together as a collective.
Yes.
And if he can present them with ideas to help them how to make lives better for not only Junkanooers, but for all Bahamians, because they don't want to admit it, but they need advice from outside of that circle.
I agree with you.
So that's my little put. So
The very people you are sending there are not fulfilling Article 52(1) of your Constitution. It's the ideal Constitution. I don't want talking no crap in my ears. The parliamentary personalities who are sitting in the parliamentary seats are not doing their job. That's why we're catching hell in Swartman Castle. Because we're not getting the support of the representative in this particular issue. There's only one issue. Why should we have to put up with this nonsense? And people want to get home to their house and they're being stopped. And so the thing is, Bahamians, we have to get serious. This is 2025. We got to do better. But you got to put pressure on the government. You got to put pressure on those who are there now. And if they ain't doing what they're supposed to do, we know what to do with them. We got to put up with this nonsense. 51 years and a half, we've been going through this crap. Come on, Bahamians. We have to make better choices. Our problem has been we have not been making good choices of the persons we send to represent us. And that is the crux of the matter. So Bahamians, you need to know your Constitution. You need to know what it says, and you need not be afraid of what this one may say or that one may say. Or that one give you one chicken, and that might give you one ham. Let's give out chicken and ham, right?
Oh, they get ham and turkey.
Turkey.
I didn't get any this last. I'm waiting to see my MP.
Yeah, okay, all right. Well, I hope you get yours. Okay? Because I know they were giving out in Fort Fincastle, the Centerville, but they did give out hams and turkeys, and I think the people got their hams. And
So you got a ham and turkey, Professor?
No, I ain't got no ham. I got a turkey.
Wow.
I got it directly from the representative. Put it right in my hand.
Well, my MP didn't even send me a card, but I will see him and deal with him at a later date.
Yeah, okay, all right. No, we could use the turkey. I ain't got no problem with that. But if that's what he decides to do, and a representative could do that, There's nothing unconstitutional about that. Okay, so I'm not going to complain about that. If a representative decides he wants to personally help or he has sponsors to personally help somebody, fine, no problem. But he still has that job. Article 52(1) says people legitimacy. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. Of course, open line is tomorrow on Friday. Tomorrow is Friday, right?
Yes.
Yeah, open line. I can deal with the constitutional issue on Monday.
Okay.
Because that's a whole show in itself. What the police did is wrong. Appointment of the particular personality is also wrong. It is not constitutionally sound. We're going to fix that. We have to get it right. And it takes people who know better to tell these people who got all these high-ranking positions, making all this money from the public treasury and can't help the people. This is Professor Sidney MacArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network. Network 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed are those of the host, guests, and the opinions of the owners of Global Communications Network and the operators of this radio station.
This is not in the Bahamas. This is Global Radio 99.5.